it's useful to people who can't be here. And Morona, would you be willing to offer a
I can
prayer?
do that.
All right, cool.
Heavenly Father, we're grateful that we can gather together and learn and try to understand things better so that we can get through this semester. And we hope that the Spirit will be with us to open our minds and help us learn the things that we are learning. Please bless those that are needing extra blessings right now with patience or with health or with love for their family members, and that we are so grateful that we have the opportunity to go to school. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you. And my ASU students told me that the reason they don't even bother is because most teachers at ASU aren't responsive to their, so if they're like, they're just like, I don't even ask questions. And I'm like, well, that's sad. Here, ASU is supposed to be this flagship sort of a business program, and students aren't having a good experience. I'm sure there's exceptions, but I hear that a lot from them. So I did want to real quick share something with you. So this is just the additional study content that I've shown in past weeks that you can link to from either from my announcements each week or from the modules. But I've added this little right here. It's called a debit and credit rules study guide. For some people, they got the debit and credit rules down. They don't need extra review, but I just wanted to show that that was there for people. So I'm going to click on it real fast. And all it does is it sort of breaks down the account types, assets, liabilities, owner's equity here on the left. And then, oh, am I sharing screen? Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. And then revenues, expenses, and dividends over here on the right shows which side increases the account, which side decreases it, and then which side is the normal balance. If once you figured out normal balance is always the side that increases it, you don't really need that additional because you already know that. But some people find this useful. Some people, debit and credit rules are one of those things that for some people it like comes so naturally to them that they're like, oh yeah, that's easy. And for others, it's really hard. It just, they're like, I cannot get this into my brain. And then most of us are like somewhere in between, the extremes. And so some people find this little help guide, well, helpful, as help guides should be. So just wanted to show you that was there. Also in this additional study materials, I've worked out a couple of the quiz access problems that people seem to be struggling with, especially this number 5. It was just really unclear what format they wanted it in, I guess. It took me a couple work throughs on it myself to figure out what they wanted from me. And so I put that there. Anytime someone reaches out and says, hey, I'm struggling with a problem, if I have time, I'll record that and then just add it to this. So this will keep growing throughout the semester. But a lot of times it's growing sort of live time. So there may not be an answer on there today, but there might be, a video for the thing you're looking for today, but don't be afraid to check back tomorrow, so to speak, if somebody else asks. So that's there. That's honestly really only the kind of the only general information I have, other than, so this week is finishing up chapter 2, and then prepping for the exam, which is going to be on by Tuesday of next week. I think it's Tuesday. I'm pretty
And
sure.
that's not open until Saturday, I think. Is that right? I clicked on it. It said it was
Yeah,
locked still.
yeah. So they want it again. So I think this is the accounting department's attempt to minimize any sort of forms of cheating or things like that by having it open in a really narrow window, having it be proctored so that students can't capture it. And then it is true, we have this almost like epidemic of people at every college ever, sort of anytime there's an exam, they download it, and like within a day it's up on Course Hero and things like that. And so the short answer to your question is yes, it doesn't open till Saturday, and it's due by Tuesday.
Okay.
And it stinks that we have to do that. it'd be awesome if we could just tell everybody, yeah, just take it, just don't use your book, you'll be great. But just, part of it is it feels like it's high stakes, right? Like it's a big part of your grade. So some people get really like understandably nervous about it. So like I said, that's all I have generally. And like I said, because we're still in chapter 2, I kind of gave my little lecture for chapter 2 last week. So really, we'll just use this time to look at any specific questions. And so let's look at the one first. Marona, you said, it's gonna take me
It
a
was
second to pull it
15,
up.
it's the ratios.
Okay, so give me a second here and I will find it. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Because if I don't, I'll always like invariably click on a grades tab or something and it will show everybody's grades and people will be like, why are you showing my grades to people? Those are private. So that's why I stopped sharing for a moment. All right, so we are looking for, you said, the
In mine,
quiz
it
access.
was 15,
Quiz access.
but it was
for
the
chapter
ratio.
2. Okay. And then number 15. Okay. So let's see. I think I have the right one up. Let me share my screen again. That look like the right one?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe my screen wasn't sharing. Sometimes there's like a lag when you hit share to. All right, so we have expenses, assets, total assets, net income, total liabilities. So our debt ratio, calculator here. So did it work? Did it not work for any of the 3 of them? Were they all?
It did none of them. And I was thinking I might have done the decimals wrong because I did the percentage and then I went 2 over and then did it so that it would bump up that second one or keep it the same depending on, if it was big enough or not. So I did the 2 decimals and it still took it.
So our debt ratio is just our liabilities divided by our assets, right? So let's see. So I just tried the 1 and it worked. I did 61,500 divided by 75,000. That gave me 0.82, which is they have here.
It had a bunch of numbers after it, and then it says do it to 2 decimals. So how would you?
So it'll just be 0.82. Like, let's see if another one's different. Like 148 divided by. Oh, that's not right.
Because when you have a number and then you put it in ratios, the dot moves over to the right 2 spots, right?
No.
Then?
So like this is just be 0.95 is how I'd report that answer.
Okay, so I wouldn't move it over and then have the decimals. I would just find the decimals and then go 2 over and then make it a percentage. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so you're just reporting it directly as the number you calculate. So what you're saying, so what we're saying is, I mean, if you think about it, what we're saying is like Pixar, who's the one I just did, if it wants 2 decimals, their debt is 95% of what their assets are, right? But it doesn't want us to report it as a percentage. And what's hard about financial ratios is some do commonly get reported as percentages. Others are commonly reported just as a straight decimal. And so it's hard until you just have to sort of like look at like, how is this one reported? So most of these ratios are just as a straight like decimal number rounded to the number of decimal places they ask for.
Okay, because mine had the percentage on the end, so I thought, okay, I need to make it a percentage and then make it sure it has 2 decimal places.
Yours
But
had the
don't do that,
percentage on the end?
Yeah.
So like, let me see if I can have this preview as a student. See if that, like, I can see it. How
I remember
exactly
there was
how.
a question like that too. I don't remember if it was this particular one, but yeah, it didn't really say, but it just had the percent sign. So I knew I needed to move the decimal
Yeah, that's why I
places over.
changed it over because I thought I needed to have the percent and then do the 2 decimals in the problem. So that's why I probably got it wrong.
Well, but I would think that this one, let's see, I'm in a student assignment view, I think is what I want to do. And then it will let me look at it the way a student would see it. I actually have to go into it. So on this one, it's not showing that. Is it maybe a different one that we're thinking? Because this one
No,
it doesn't.
that's the one I did, but when I clicked the number in, it had the percentage on the side. Like you put a number in and then it shows a percentage on the in the end.
So where did you see a percentage on yours? Or would you mind if I pulled yours
Yeah.
up? I mean, I don't want to show anybody else your work without your permission, but that might help us see.
Yeah, go for it. Did
Okay.
you want me to share my screen or you can get into it?
You can either way. If you could share your screen, that'd be great. Let me give you the access to do that instead of me having to search all around for it. So give me a second. And then screen sharing up. Whoops. Okay, you should be able to share your screen now. It's hard when, when it looks one way on my end and another way on your end, right? It's hard to provide.
Yeah, it is. It looks like yours. So maybe I was just seeing things, but I would put a number in, let's say like 62% and then 23. And I guess I'm not seeing it now. All right, maybe I saw stuff.
Okay, well, yeah, who knows? I mean, it's especially when you've been doing, you're on number 15, your brain starts to just to say,
Right,
I
so
don't
go
know,
ahead and
I'm done with
just
this.
divide the liabilities by the assets and then whatever 2 behind the dot, take those and either, go up a 1 or keep it the same. Like
Yeah, so like your first one, 94,000 divided by 155 gives me 0.606. So we're going to round that to 0.61.
so it'd be 60.61.
0.61. Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes,
All right.
a lot of times we haven't done rounding since like grade school, right? Like, and so they throw us into it and assume we all remember how to do that. And we're like, I'm struggling with like the basic like format you want me to put this answer in, and let alone all of the crazy calculation, or, things you want me to figure out. Okay, so any other questions we could look at, or that?
Yes, I
Okay.
do. I do.
Okay.
Okay, Brother Fox, I am one of those who are having trouble understanding the debits and credits.
Okay.
I see the chart and I think I understood, but when I do the exercises, like it marks me wrong. So just like I must be done understanding.
Okay. Is there a particular exercise that maybe I could go through and that would help, or I don't want to just guess at one and then have it not really help you? Is there one of them that you remember as being particularly difficult for you?
I don't remember right now. I just remember seeing a bunch of wrong answers there. But Oh, let me see. See, maybe I can find the things. It was from last week. The last for the content of the second part it was hard to understand for me too. Let's see, knowledge 4. Maybe someone else has another question while I find it, because I don't.
Sure.
I need to search.
Okay.
Sorry.
Does anyone else have other questions? Cypress, that's how you turn your camera on. I don't know if you were just wanting to like join the group, or if like, yeah, that meant you had something to say, or no. Okay. And Scott said he was good earlier, unless he's come up with a question since then.
I just have maybe a general question while she's
Okay.
looking. So for the test, I remember last week you said we can use Excel.
Mhm.
Or can we bring just a blank sheet of paper to then take notes on, or would we just need to type in Excel if we wanted to?
No, so that's,
do
yeah,
something?
that's a great question that that isn't clear. So you can use scratch paper. You know, what I recommend is showing it to your camera, just holding it up, saying, look, it's a blank piece of paper. Even if you didn't, people, I wish I could help people understand, like people are super freaked out by Proctorio, like the idea that this computer is like staring at you, right? And while you're doing your work, and like, and because it says in the warnings, like if your eyes look away from it for too long, if you have, and everybody's like, oh man, I don't want to do anything wrong. I will tell you, so the worst thing that will happen if your eyes look away too long, right, is that your exam will get flagged. And so it'll send me an email saying this student's exam was flagged. And it will give me like a time stamp. It'll say at this time they looked away from the camera. And so, and then I go manually review it, and I'm like, oh, like clearly their kid ran into the room, and they turn around and we're talking to their kid saying, hey, I've got to take this test or whatever. And because people are afraid it's like just going to fail them or something, you know, like no human intervention. So recognize that the only, like the worst thing that happens is it flags it for human intervention, and then it comes to me and I review it. And so if it did look like somebody was cheating, and I've had people cheat, we've got them cheating on this test, and you're like, why? You know, then honestly, I would contact you and be like, okay, so, you know, could give you a 0 on this exam and you could keep going, or like,
Right.
you know, it's still not like, you know, nobody like from the university calls you and is just like, give us your temple recommend.
Right.
You know.
I guess so that's good. I'm glad we can use
So
scratch paper. One thing
short
that,
answer, you can use scratch paper.
okay, and I guess one thing that helped me like doing my economics course was there was lots of different equations and things to remember. So I can figure, yeah, show like my blank sheet of paper, and then if I can take the first couple minutes, sit down and like dump my brain of all these equations, I can try and remember to help me do calculations. Would that would be okay then, I guess, as long
Yeah,
as it starts out with a blank sheet.
Yep, it's all coming from you. So
Gotcha.
and for, you know, if that helps you, I mean, I recommend it, right? Like,
Okay, perfect.
I can, you know, like I can memorize some stuff in short term for like 3 minutes until I
Right.
can write it out, and other stuff I could, you know, I mean, our hope ultimately is that a person would become very comfortable with debits and credits and making those entries and things. But
I guess, yeah, my concern is more just like making sure, okay, like, okay, debt ratio, like
our ratios, yeah, that's
like
one
make
you're
sure
like,
like, okay, yeah, liabilities is on top, and you know, just making sure I get like the specific calculation equations down, I guess. So, okay, thank
yeah,
you.
and I will say, like, I work in accounting and I don't memorize any of
Right.
those. I have honestly, I just input my data into my software, and then I say, hey, run these reports, you know, I want, and then it does that for me. But I get that we need to understand and learn the process for early on, so that later on it's kind of like times tables. We can just do the stuff we have to regularly do. But it sure feels, you know, don't memorize phone numbers because my phone does that.
Right.
I do memorize like things from movies so that I can bust them out in conversation, but that's about it. Movie quotes are important. They're an important part of our life. Okay,
That's
is it?
inconceivable. What are you talking
Yeah. Emmeline, how do you say your name?
Emmeline.
Emmeline.
Emmeline. Yes.
Emmeline. All
I
right.
found what I'm struggling at.
Okay, great. Let's take a look at it.
Can I share my screen?
You should be able to, yes.
Okay. Let's do here. Okay, I am having trouble processing transactions
Uh-huh.
because here with the examples, I see how they are there, but the problems like maybe because they are not showing as in a sheet. It is for me. It's like just like a puzzle, and I don't understand how it fits everything.
Okay. So let me see if I can find,
I can stop sharing.
yeah, I just wanted to find a
Because
good
like I
example.
don't know how it looks like in real life. I see it there. I understand, for example, like here, like purchases supplies on credit. Okay, I put it as an asset, and liabilities, and the thing is I see numbers there, and I don't know how everything fits in a real one.
Sure, sure. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to find, okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you.
Mhm.
This is number 6 from the quiz access. So, and let me see if this helps. Okay, so this has a bunch of transaction information up here, up top. And then it's got this little journal entry worksheet at the bottom. And so they're giving us all this information, and they want us to create the journal entries.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to kind of walk you through like the process I would use. And if it's helpful, then we'll keep going. And if you're like, nope, that doesn't help me at all, then we'll try to find another way to look at it.
Mhm.
So on June 1st, T. James, the owner, invested $17,500 cash in Sustained Company in exchange for common stock. So what I have to do is ask myself first, like what's happening? And if the owner's putting money into the company, that means the business's cash will be increasing. And the common stock, which represents investments by the owner, will also be increasing. Then I have to ask myself, what type of accounts are these? Cash is an asset account, and common stock is an equity account. And then I ask myself, what are the rules? So if an asset's increasing, that would be a debit to the asset. And if common stock is increasing, that would be a credit. Then I'm ready to make the journal entry. I can say, we're going to debit cash and credit common stock. And that's 17,500 each. And record my entry. So that's my process. If I'm still not feeling super strong about that process,
Mhm.
then maybe I'll have to bring up my little informational sheet here. And where did that problem go? I got too many windows open. My wife doesn't appreciate my love of having everything open all at once. Let's see. And maybe this is why. Okay. So this will help me a little bit. So on the second one, it says the company purchases $10,500 worth of furniture. And it says it purchases it on credit. And so when it says that it purchases it on credit, it means I'm not paying cash for it. It means that I'm going to pay in the future. Okay. And so again, I say, okay, my furniture is going to go up. Furniture is an asset. So that will go up with a debit. And then since I'm not paying cash, my liability accounts payable is going to be going up. And liabilities increase with a credit. So I can say furniture is my debit and accounts payable is my credit. And the amount was 10,500. So in my brain, every time I do a transaction, I'm going through this process of saying, what accounts are impacted? What type of accounts are they? And what are the rules for those types of accounts? And it takes practice, right? You get better at it the more you do. So here the company pays $1,900 cash for a 12-month prepaid insurance policy. So we do know that our cash will be going down in this transaction because we're paying cash. And then we know that are prepaid insurance policy. So prepaid insurance will be going up.
Mhm.
So then I ask myself, what type of accounts are they? Well, cash is an asset. So if it's going down, then that's going to be my credit entry. And prepaid insurance is also an asset. And so if it's going up, then that will be my debit entry. And then the amount is 1,900. Oops. So Emmeline, is this helpful at all to
Yes,
walk through it this way?
I think that the debit and credit rules, I think that's helping me.
Okay, yeah, so I'll walk through some more, the rest of them, and just to kind of explain my process. The good news is after you've done it like 20 years, if you want to do it for 20 years, the good news is that this happens pretty much, this whole process of like saying what type of account, it all just happens kind of automatically in your brain because you do it a lot. You know, if you're a piano player, you know what I mean by that. When you're learning a song, it's really hard and halting and you have to work through it, but after you get used to it, it just sort of flows. And so it's like any other skill. So here, the company billed a customer $9,500 for services, sustainability services provided. So if I bill a customer, but they haven't paid me yet, then I know my cash isn't going up. So instead, my accounts receivable will be going up. That's money owed to me by my customer. Accounts receivable is an asset. So if it's increasing, that'll be a debit. And then if I've already provided the services to the person, to the customer, then that means I've earned revenue. So it's going to be services revenue. Revenue increases with a credit. So there's my entry. So if we were to translate this into normal everyday English, we'd be saying, I earned $9,500 by providing services to somebody, but I'm not receiving it in cash yet. Instead, I'm billing them and they owe it to me and I'll receive it in cash in the future. Let's see. The company pays $10,500 cash toward the payable from the June 2nd furniture purchase. So we know if they're paying money, that means their cash is going to go down. And since cash is an asset, that will be our credit, is the reduction in cash. And then if we had a payable, that's a liability. If we're paying it off, that means our liability is going to be going down because we're paying off our debt. So the liability will decrease with the debit. So that's what our journal entry will look like. Again, if you translate that into normal language, you'd be saying, I'm paying off a debt that I owe, accounts payable, with cash. So my cash is going down and my accounts payable is going down too. Here we have the company collects $9,500 cash for services billed on June 4th. So now our accounts receivable is going to go down because we're collecting the money and our cash is going to go up. So cash is an asset, it will increase with a debit. And accounts receivable is an asset, so it will decrease the credit. Again, put that into plain language. What we're saying is we're collecting the money that's owed to us. So our cash goes up and the receivable goes down, meaning it's no longer owed to us because we've collected it. T. James invests an additional $16,500 cash in the company in exchange for common stock. So again, our cash goes up. That's an asset, so we'll increase it with a debit. And our common stock goes up. That's an equity account, and so we'll increase that with a credit. Finally, the company receives $11,500 cash from a client for sustainability services for the next 3 months. So here we're receiving cash, but we haven't earned it yet, right? And in the previous one, we received cash, but it was for something that some work we'd already done. So here it's a little different. First of all, our cash still goes up, so that's a debit to the cash account. But then because we haven't earned the revenue yet, we're going to record this as something called unearned revenue. And unearned revenue, even though it has revenue in its name, it's actually a liability. It means we owe the customer. If the customer pays me $11,500, I either owe him his money back or I owe him the services I promised to perform in the future, one of those two things. So that's what that entry will look like. And that's it. I guess we could check our work. Make sure I didn't mess it up somehow. Hooray. All right. So I don't know if that, again, I'm hoping that the process of that maybe was helpful. And I'm happy to look at something else if you think it would be helpful, or if that's enough. Sometimes for my brain, like one lesson, and then I go back and work on it. I don't need like 5 lessons and then not remember any of it. But is there something else you'd like me to look at, or is that, you think that's good for now?
It's very helpful. Thank you so much. And I have a question. When we get an exam, I guess we will have to do like our journal entry or like a accounts receivable thing. Do we have to remember, like, well, of course we have to remember, but what if it makes me like, I wonder is like, what if I have to leave a space there, things like that? Does it matter or no? When I record the entry, because it won't look exactly, or
Yeah.
or all of them look the same.
Yeah. So no. So good. That's a good question. It's pretty scary to think that maybe the exam would mark you wrong because of formatting, even if you had the answer correct. And so what I can say is first of all, this system is new to me, and so I don't know exactly how it's going to do, but I believe most of the exam questions will be multiple choice, so you can answer them. You know, there'll be a definitive choice of answer. If it's something like a journal entry like this, I promise I will review those. And if it's marking you wrong because of a little formatting error or something, I'll have to make adjustments to the score. And so I don't have a super solid answer as to how it's going to work because it's brand new to me too. We've just switched to this new system, but I will do my very best to make sure nobody gets penalized for a system issue. So that the short answer is, yeah, there may come times where you have to put the numbers in. We'll make sure that if there's a system issue that if it marks you wrong, we'll fix that. It's easy. I've only got 100 students to review, so, but still easier than taking accounting. I promise you that. Believe it or not, your teachers had to take accounting. I had to be a student of it too. So I know where you're at, and I know it's hard.
Well, thank you. And any other recommendation that you have for us for the exam or anything? I did proctorio exams before, and it was, I just hope it doesn't crash.
Yeah, it does. I think proctorio works the best with Chrome. And so, I recommend that, even though now they're saying you can use Edge or something as well, but it was designed for Chrome, and I stick with Chrome. I will say, I just want to put this out there. If you click on the exam when it comes exam time and it's asking you to put in a password, because that's happened with people, that means there's something wrong, that the computer is not interfacing with Chrome correctly. I mean, with Proctorio correctly. And so usually just exiting out of it and going back into it fixes it. And if that doesn't, then reinstalling the Proctorio plugin in Chrome, that almost always fixes it. So I'm just putting that out there in case it happens to somebody, that they get in there and it won't let them start. Usually if you get bumped out of the exam because of a Proctorio issue, if you contact Proctorio support, they can usually get you right back in. Sometimes people just like panic and then they stop and then it runs out of time. And so like if you come up to your, on my screen here, if you come up to your plugins, and like Proctorio's here, and you click on it, like you can contact them through there and get a little chat representative, and they can usually get you right back into the exam. I'm not saying that that's what I want. I want it to just run perfectly smooth. I'm just letting you know that there is a way to reach out to Proctorio through the plugin if you do end up having problems. And a lot of times people will contact me and I'm like, I don't have any. That's the other frustrating thing as a teacher, is I don't have any way of fixing it for you. I don't have like administrator access through Proctorio. And so let's just hope that it all runs really smoothly. Again, we haven't seen how it runs with McGraw-Hill Connect. And so it could be super nice and smooth, or we're going to have a whole bunch of people upset and worried about their grade. And we'll make sure to, recognize that I recognize this is all new. And so I really want to make sure that doesn't hurt anybody's grade. I want you all to be successful. I know I talk a lot. You're afraid to ask another question because I'll do another like 2-minute long monologue. So sorry about that.
It's okay.
All right, are we good? Anything else, Scott or Cypress?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you doing questions just about like the quiz access and stuff, or like any questions?
I could try anything, yeah.
Well, it's just because I have the question presentation for chapter 3. So, and I know that it's due by October 23rd. But I thought that it had to be in by a Tuesday so that
It has to be in by a Saturday.
oh.
So the Saturday before that week it's due. So like, let me real quick pull up. I got too many things open here.
Also then, so the exam's gonna be on McGraw-Hill. It's not gonna be in Canvas.
So what they're telling me as of today is that it will be on McGraw-Hill, that there'll be a Canvas link. So you're going to still click on the quiz in Canvas. It's going to take you through to a link to McGraw-Hill, and it will be in there. They weren't sure they were going to be able to do it in McGraw-Hill because of these issues with Proctorio, but they said they've got it all set up, and that they said the link will be like, it will be live by Friday so that students can access it. The good news with that is in the previous incarnation of this class, the biggest frustration of students is they felt like the wording and the feel of the exam was like radically different than the feel of the homework problems, if that makes sense. And so that was one of their solutions, was to have the exams be in the McGraw-Hill software so that it's the same software that you do all of your homework work in as well. So maybe, oh yeah, I was going to look up somewhere. I got to. So right here. So like if you were going to do the week 6, chapter 3, then you need to have it posted by the 23rd of October, which is the Saturday at the end of week 6, because it's actually the week 7 quiz access problem. Does that make sense? It's really confusing. This is one thing I kind of went back to the course council and was like, man, the naming convention of these really threw everybody for a loop. So hopefully they'll fix that. That's why I tried to make this thing that sort of like lines out what everybody has, like what problem you're doing, where you're going to post it, and what date you have to post it by.
Okay.
All right. Okay, well, anybody willing to offer a closing prayer?
I can do it.
Okay, terrific.
Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this day, for all the blessings we have, for the opportunity to study this class, and Brother Fox, who is explaining us. Please bless us so we can keep understanding what we need to learn, and remember that it for exam, and help us to have the energy to do it. And Wesley, for all the members of this class, and Wesley, these things in the name of thy son Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you. Thank you very much. Everybody have a great night. If you ever get stuck on a problem, don't be afraid to reach out. I'll put together a little explainer video or something for you. Sometimes it takes me like a full day, 24 hours or so to receive that and be able to do it. But I'm always willing to do that sort of thing. So don't be afraid to let me know if I can help. Okay. All right. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night. Thanks,
You too.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.